What's good, you guys? It's your boy Busama. We are back here on Street Runners TV, and we're back here with a special guest. So for today's special guest, we got none only Byron Muhammad. So Byron Muhammad, he's a community leader, a serial entrepreneur, but most importantly, a family man. You know what I'm saying? I know you guys are very familiar with Supreme's Cut, the man that owns Supreme Cuts. In today's interview, we're going to get the full behind the scenes of who this man is and how much he means to the community. Oh my God, I just fucked up. I'm sorry. I'm super sorry. I just added too much.
Full disclosure.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to him, he was like, man, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but you make him nervous.
Yeah.
Because you cut his hair so long. He knows he's a little kid. I'm a grown man.
I'm super sorry. All right.
Remember this as you talking, man. You are part of who I am. I'm seeing you from your, like, I've literally seen customer, baby, and then they come in.
Yeah.
Their son later is coming in with a child. In 22 years, I've been doing that so long. So you're a part of that. So this is your home, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Just relax and be who you are, because it's gonna come out perfectly.
All right, you ready? Okay. What's good? It's your boy Busama. We are back here on Street Runners TV, and we're back here with another special episode. And for today's episode, we have a special guest. We have Byron Muhammad. So Byron Muhammad, he's a community leader. He's a serial entrepreneur, but most importantly, a family man. So for today's interview, I just want you guys to relax, sit back, and enjoy this interview. So for today's first question, like we said before we started this interview, I'm super nervous. Not because, this man's been cutting like my hair since I was like, what, like
2, 3,
2, 3, 4 years old. So like this means like so much, and I'm trying to get it out. I'm trying to get it out because I'm so nervous right now. But let's jump right into this podcast. Let's start with the essence of Waterloo. What does Waterloo mean to you? And how did you even get the idea of wanting to be a barber?
Wow. So what Waterloo means to me is community. I can think back and give roses to many people along the way that had a hand into making me the man I am today, various individuals. And that community aspect was really the strength of Waterloo. When you talk about, when you ask me a question about Waterloo and the east side and the west side, the east side of Waterloo was community, It was truly that stereotypical time where if you got in trouble, 3-4 houses, and moms and aunties and step cousins would get on you before you got home. I grew up before there was internet and cell phones and whatnot, but you got a trouble along the line, and however it happened, your mama knew what happened before you got home, and you got in trouble at various spots, and you got in trouble when you got home. So Waterloo for me was very much community.
Yes, sir.
Very much.
And would you say like in high school, was there ever a time you found yourself maybe cutting hair, or how was it like for Byron in high school?
For me in high school, in terms of cutting hair, or just in general?
Just in general, and maybe in terms of cutting hair.
High school was again, that community aspect, linked up with a group of friends. We gave ourselves a little moniker. We called ourselves LOC. It was various meanings depending on who you talk to in a group. But as men, we have a group chat to this day. We still communicate with each other. We LOC'd our group, started business meetings and things like that. But we called it Leaders of Change. For our community in Waterloo. And a lot of my friends are there in the community now doing a lot of things. So for me, in terms of cutting hair, it really started not having a lot of resources you know, I don't want to use the word poor because I had a lot of love around me, but so I wasn't poor in that aspect. But we didn't have a lot of financial resources. So, you know, I can get a haircut maybe once every 3 or 4 months, you know, 2 months. You know how it is. It's rough.
Yes,
Your head nappy, people laughing at you. So I started to learn to cut my own hair. And me being a barber grew out of that necessity of me learning to cut my own hair. And so, you know, everything happened step by step from that. But that was the genesis of it.
Yes,
me learning to just do my own hair.
So like, let me ask you this. So when you wanted to like make the commitment to go on to college, was there like friends in your neighborhood that was making fun of you at that time?
No. You know, that's one thing. I was always, I can't say the smart kid, but I was always on that path. So I spent many of my summers in upper bound programs.
Okay. Okay.
I went to another program called Secondary Student Trading Program. They introduced me to the University of Iowa, where I ended up going to college. So I spent my summers doing those type of things. So my friends, I was always on the track to go to college. So my friends and my groups, they, you know, it never was a, you know, any type of chiding or, you know, any type of, you know, making fun of me going to college, because I guess my groups pretty much expected that from me.
Yes, sir.
And that was a requirement, and I trickled down amongst my children. They have that requirement and expectation as well. So
like making that transition into college, coming from Waterloo, would you say that was like a big environmental change for you, or like were you able to like get accustomed to the environment of the college? Because the University of Iowa, that's a big campus, you know, party school. So how was that for you?
So being that I went to these programs every summer,
yes, sir,
I was a little acclimated to what to expect on college, how to get around on the, you know, college campus and get to class in different time and walking from this way and walking. So that was the easy part. The hard part of making the transition was the freedom.
Yeah, yes.
You know,
yes, sir.
The freedom. Like, you know, you grew up, mama, hey, boy, get up, go to school. In college, there's no one there to make you go. You know what I'm saying? It's late, take your butt to bed, you got school in the morning. I didn't have that in college. And so my maturity level, this is all hindsight, because I look back and I think about them times often about college. But in hindsight, I realized that I wasn't self-motivated enough. Because high school, for me, I was able to turn it on and turn it off when I wanted to. I need to get a good grade on this. I can study. I can do it. I can get a good grade. I can pass. I can make it suffice. But that doesn't work on a university level in the same way, because you don't have the same interaction with the professors. You said at University of Iowa, you know, I go into McBride Hall, have a lecture. It's 350 other students in there.
Jeez.
You know, so the professor don't know me from Adam, you know what I mean? So if I'm there or not, he wouldn't have, you know, he's in there to give a 50-minute lecture, and it's on me, you know. And so, you know, and I probably played more basketball and cut more hair than I did go to class. And subsequently, you know, I had to withdraw from the University of Iowa.
Yes, sir. So like, okay, so when was it until you were able to meet your wife, your first wife?
Well, I cut hair, and so my first year in college, I walked into college with 18 credits.
Okay.
From that stuff I did all those summers. So I had, matter of fact, I had 12 credits. I'm sorry. 12 credits when I walked in. And so you got to have 30 credits in order to be a sophomore. I barely made it. So I made 9 credits first semester, 9 credits second semester, but I had 12. So I made it to be a sophomore. So the next year I made a sophomore. I saw where this train was going. I was cutting hair. I was doing things. I wasn't going to school like I was supposed to. I was getting a little disenchanted, so I left. and I came here, and I came here. You know, my name is Muhammad, so I got that Muhammad for being a part of the Nation of Islam. Yeah. So I came here because this was the headquarters of the Nation of Islam here in Iowa. And so I came here to be a part of the mosque and everything. And then in that genesis of that, which teaches family, which teaches marriage, which teaches self-reliance and self-discipline, as well as being an entrepreneur, doing for self. Then I got married at the young age of 19 years old. And so my first marriage was, 17 years from there. And so that was the genesis, and that's how that came about, me coming here to Des Moines, and why I chose Des Moines and didn't go back to Waterloo.
Wow. So I would like to touch more, just a little bit on that religion that you brought up. Was it at Iowa that you first got familiar with the Muslim religion and stuff like that? No,
that was in Waterloo.
Okay.
And the community aspect in which you learn in Waterloo. A brother who was one of the best barbers I've ever seen in my life. He was cutting hair. And in this basement, he was playing a lecture of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And that's where, I got introduced. And the thing that drew me in the most, past the religion, and was the brotherhood aspect. Belonging to a group, belonging to a brotherhood. And that is what, I fell in love with and started my process of being a member in the nation. And that process started in 1992. So I've been a member of the Nation of Islam since October 12th of 1992.
If it was one thing that you could take with you that you've learned from that very group that's instilling to you today, what would that be?
The brotherhood. And that just doesn't just translate for me.
Yes, sir.
To just male members. That is that community aspect that we talked about. That is family aspect that we talked about. That we are each other's crutch, that we need each other. My success is your success, and your success is my success. And collectively, we are the answer to any problems that we have. And amongst our community, when we understand that, then that's where our strength lies. There may be different ways to go about it. Your policies and principles may be, your practices and policies may be a little different, but there are certain principles that undergird all religions, all thoughts, and that's where I try to stick to. I don't get in here and do a lot of arguing about, this, that, or a third. Like, there's real people out here that need our helps, and either you're willing to help them or you're not. So that's the aspect that sticks to me the most, that brotherhood, that community aspect of looking out for each other. That's the aspect that is really kind of my mantra, and the part that I use for my life.
Yes, sir. And the reason why I wanted to bring that back up, because I feel like when a large percent of the world here, Muslim or just that religion, they get maybe the culture and the religion confused.
Absolutely.
Because they see maybe this part of the world, it might be Muslim, but they have a different way of going about it than how you would go about it, the peace and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just wanted to bring that back up. But moving forward, so once you made it down here and you wanted to open up your first barbershop, how was that process for you, and what made you say, okay, after barber school, I'm gonna go open up a shop instead of do what a regular person would do, go internship behind somebody and go learn maybe for a year or two and then go.
Well, some of the greatest things that happen in life just happen by happenstance and accident and being in the right place at the right time. So I always, being that I was taught and raised, in the nation since 15 years old, I always wanted to do for self. That's always my goal. I teach that to young people that come in here. Even if you get a job, learn it and where you can learn it to do something for yourself. So I always wanted to do for self. I happened to find my first location, which was at Easton Boulevard here on the east side, between DeWolf and East 19th Street. And full disclosure, I actually found this. I was told about this location by the owner of Platinum Cuts, Rob, because we went to school together. And he was like, bro, you see this place over here? And I saw that place and I inquired about the place. And the rent for that place was cheaper than it was to rent a booth at a barbershop.
Okay.
And again, things just fall into line. At that time, there was two sides of the building. On the larger side of the building, there was already a female cosmetologist doing hair there. So I could meet the state board requirements by working close to or next to or under a licensed barber or cosmetologist, and she worked next door. And so I was able to work there cheaper than it was to get in the barbershop and work as a booth rent in the barbershop. So that is really how that came about. And I took it from there, and that was June 26th of 1999. So today is June 26th of 2022. So it represents 23 years today, 23 years. And that's how I started, And so with that being said, I just kept, working and growing from there. But it started just kind of like that, just kind of organically like that.
So when you went to brand the name and think of like Supremes, like what exactly does Supremes cuts mean to you? I've always wanted to know that.
Yeah. So, I'm deliberate about everything I try to do. Deliberate in how I talk to people. Deliberate in how the man I try to be. So the name Supreme Cuts it comes from my teachings in the Nation of Islam. So it comes from our lessons, which is called Supreme Wisdom Lessons. And so Supreme being highest, there's nothing higher than Supreme, the greatest manifestation of us, so when you talk about God, you say the Supreme Being.
Yes, sir.
And so we had our lessons, which were called Supreme Wisdom Lessons. So I took Supreme from that and call it Supreme Cuts, being that there's nothing higher than the Supreme. So, and I started the barbershop Supreme Cuts, and I took it from that. So you go around the nation, if you go around the country, there's other people that have Supreme Cuts as a barbershop, and typically if you go there, they are members of the Nation of Islam, because that word is very important and very strong and has a great meaning amongst the nation.
Wow. Can I? I didn't know that, because so I'm thinking. Never mind.
Go ahead. No, thinking what?
No. Well, so I thought Supreme was like the Supreme guy from New York. Like the whole drug lord type of a dude, whatever. But
so the history of the nation, if you think of New York, you think of the East Coast, you think of Philly, you think of, there's so many people tied in the ties of Islam is very strong in the East Coast. So when you think of the 5% nation of Islam, the 5%ers, we call it Supreme Wisdom, they call it the 120 lessons. So that term Supreme is a very strong term. So when you're thinking about people in that era making groups and doing things, when you say the supreme thing, it comes, and that's how deep Islam is in the Nation of Islam is in black community and black culture across the country, but especially in that East Coast area. If you go back and think of friends and family members, there's my favorite rapper, Nasir. That's an Islamic based name. You think of Rasheed Wallace's basketball players. You think of so many different people named Rasheed and Rashida, name these different names that come out of even people who weren't even in the nation, who did not subscribe to Islam as a religion or a way of life. They took those names because that's how deep it is entrenched in that area and entrenched in that part of the country. So when you think of Supreme and a Supreme team, you go into their history, that is where they glean that name as well.
So so when you see like the kids today wearing like the Supreme logo and all this, like how do you feel like when you see stuff like that and them not understanding like the true meaning behind that?
Well, that is our way we use the word in the Nation of Islam, but we don't own that word.
Yeah, right.
You know, but I don't have no bad feelings about it, because anytime you can inspire someone to be great and to be supreme, that's fine with me. I'm saying the principle,
yes, sir,
takes precedent over everything else. You know, if our people are trying to be great and the people are using that to try to pull themselves out of poverty and do something for themselves, then I'm all for it. You know, so it does give me a sense of pride. It does give me a sense of admiration to see it. You know, when I see other barbershops across the country with Supreme, and I see other logos and other things like that, you know, I don't have a problem with it at all. I wish I was smart enough to trademark it, because it's it's worth millions, millions of dollars now.
Amen.
But you know, I didn't have the financial wherewithal to do it at that time, but it definitely has, you know, a cachet to it, and thus, you know, when you think of, you take a pair of Jordans that's $200 and you throw a Supreme logo on it, now they $400.
Yeah.
You know, you get a Supreme backpack, $250. You get a Supreme T-shirt, $99. You know how to logo, it would just say Supreme on it. You know, so like I said, I wish I would have trademarked it. You know what I mean? But
so let me ask you this: so out of all the barbershops in Des Moines, or better yet in Iowa, what sets you apart? What sets Supreme Cuts apart from every other barbershop?
You know, I've been doing this a long time, so I love all those guys. I mean, I don't think there's any barbershop that I can't go in and get a warm embrace, because I've helped some of your favorite barbers. Either they work for me at one time, or I've helped them get established by giving them, you know, knowledge and wisdom and resources to open up their business. But what I think that sets me apart is that family aspect. That has always been my desire, is to make you feel a part of the brotherhood. You know, some people feel funny from it, but I tell each of my customers after I cut their hair, I love you. And I genuinely do, because I am who I am because of their support of me. Yeah. You know, and I feed off of them just as much as they may feed off of me. You know, we are a brotherhood. We are a family. We are a community. You know, so that is the part that I want to be the most important aspect of me and my business. You know, barbers come, barbers go. There may be a little pain, a few tears when they first leave. You know, you hate to see someone go, but ultimately there's a pride. There is a happiness about them going on and achieving what they want to achieve. So the biggest part that I want to be known for, the biggest part that I want to set myself apart from anyone, is that family aspect, is that family orientation. I do take pride in seeing a mom come in and say, give him a ball fade. I don't care what he say. This is the haircut I want, and I'm going to the store. I'll be back. That is the ultimate. You know how crazy things are in the world today. Yeah. For a mother to come in and feel comfortable to leave her child with you.
Oh, okay.
For that time.
Especially where we're at now.
To leave her child with you for that time, and knowing that he ain't gonna come back with cussing, he ain't gonna come back talking crazy, he ain't gonna come back repeating all types of crazy stuff that he heard. That's like the ultimate compliment, you know. Or when they can come in with their mother and the mother can sit and she can feel comfortable, you know. Because this is a spot for men. You know, we still have that aspect. This is a spot for men. It's, you know, sometimes, you know, brothers see a nice looking woman and they can get a little beside themselves. So, you know, but those are the things that are important to me.
Yes, sir. So, like, I guess that can lead to my next question then, because this is a question that I've already asked you as well too, but for the viewers out there too that may want to know, that may be starting a new business out there, how do you keep a solid family, like a family that's been with you for 5 to 10 plus years, like you've been doing here at Supreme Cuts?
When I say principles, I mean principles. Yes, treat others as you would have them treat you. You know what I mean? You can, the golden rule, if it, you know, and that translates. You may say it different in Islamic language. You may say it different in Judaic history or traditions. But the principle is the same. Treat other people as you would have them treat you, and you see them as you know, not just employees, but as family members. Then things happen from there, you know. So treating people well is that's the first step, you know, and being a person of integrity and keeping your word. You don't want to start treating them some way and then change and start treating them differently. You want to be consistent on how you are. And still with that, still people decide to go. Still people got to do things for themselves. Each man is going to make their own path, you know, but you be supportive of that. And, you know, so I've been blessed to have people with me for 10, you know, 15, you know, my last barber, you know, my man, Ace Boone Coon, I love forever, you know, Mike Stokes, you know, but you know, he's no longer with me here, but we speak regularly. We ain't gonna never, that bond that we made and we created is never gonna change, you know what I'm saying? And I want to feel that with other barbers. That's why I say I go out and I see them in the community, you know, they may not be here anymore, but it's no love lost. How you doing, bro? How business? I wish you the best, you know what I mean? And so that is the first aspect of it, is treat people how you want to be treated, you know, be consistent and keep your word, you know, word is bond and bond is life. And I should give my life before my word shall fail, you know, and that's something that the supreme wisdom lessons that we talk about, that's something that comes right out of that, you know, is that your word should mean something. If you say something to someone, you know, you think back about why people quit, man, they start treating me funny. They said one thing when I worked there and then it changed. If you go any job, you talk, hey, homeboy, you was working at Walmart. What happened? Man, them people start tripping. What they said wasn't what they, you know, I was going to lunch for 30 minutes. Now they said I had to be back, whatever the story is. So if your word is consistent and your interaction with them is consistent, that's a bond for people to grow with you for a long time.
Sir, I like that. I like that. Whew. Let that one sink in. For real. So my next question for you too is, like, one thing that I've noticed is when, like, there used to be, what's that school called for the barbershop? American
College of Hairstyling.
College of Hairstyle, but like they tore it down. Why do you think, when it comes to like stuff like that, okay, for an instant, like I can go out to the suburbs and I can see all type of salon schools, whether it's, I don't even know the names, but like I've seen a lot of salon schools, but when it comes to like in the inner city and, you know, helping the kids learn how to, you know, become barbers and stuff like that, why do you think there's less schools for barber college than there is like salons? And does that make sense? Like,
it makes sense. Well, there's a bunch of factors to that. When you think of cosmetology and cosmetology schools, they're catered to women, and women haircut services just cost more money.
Okay.
Take longer processes, longer hair, longer things. And so if you think of business-wise, hair care products. Now there's more shampoos and things catered towards men, but typically you think of female products, women products. So when you think of cosmetology, those are big businesses.
Okay.
If you see them as La James, that's a chain. When you think of Avita, that's a chain. That's a chain of corporation that's setting those schools up. Barber colleges have typically been owned by individuals.
Yes,
and the process in order to open up a barber college is tremendous. And if you aren't financially stable at the beginning, it can be a very difficult process in order to open. And Iowa, as a state, has some of the highest requirements for barber schools, barbers, and acquiring your barber license. We're currently at 2,100 hours it takes for us to be a barber.
Whoa.
And so there's some states that's 1,500. There's some states that's 600. There's some states that are, various numbers lower than that. But Iowa has the highest requirements in order to be a barber. And so with that being said, it's difficult to open up a barber college.
Okay. Jeez. Why is it so much hours?
Why? I don't know specifically, but there's a breakdown of what those hours are required, though. You have to learn history, you have to learn cleanliness, you need to learn straight razor work. That's the difference between cosmetology and barbering. As a barber, we are allowed to cut with a straight razor, as opposed to a cosmetologist is not on the face. They can use a razor to do hair cutting services, but they are not allowed to use a razor on the face or the head, the bald head of a person, because that is what's taught in barbering. So that's the difference, the only real difference between a cosmetologist and a barber. But there is a breakdown of the requirements that it takes. You have to learn history. You have to learn physiology and anatomy. You got to learn, where veins are in different parts of the scalp, mandible, various things about the head and the face in which we're operating on. And you got to learn the history of being a barber as well. You have to learn a lot of things that goes into that. So it's not just all fluff. It is a lot of substance. Other states don't put the requirements as high, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, Iowa requires a higher amount. So
you got to know, especially if you shaving somebody, you forget that. Yeah. So like we said in the beginning, serial entrepreneur. So for those out there that don't know, that's multiple businesses. For those that don't know. All right, sorry. So when you're pivoting and trying to make a decision on starting a new business, like for an instant, Supreme Freight Logistics LLC. When did you know, all right, this is the time, this is a good time for me to start a new stream of income? And what's the process of going about that?
Well, number one, the process goes back to the thing I said from the beginning, and that is doing for self. If I'm going to do a business or do a venture, I have enough mental wherewithal, financial wherewithal, and resources of people wherewithal through the connections that I've made to open a business for myself.
Yes, sir.
So I want the majority instead of the minority of it by going to get a job. Let me get the majority of it. And I got an LLC here. I got an LLC for another business. So I know how to do those paperwork. So I can do that at home in 30 minutes. I know how to open a bank account. So that's the thing that, I try to teach other people and help them to see is all these processes seem so big, but if you break them down in smaller pieces, and then once you accomplish them once, you know them for a lifetime.
Yes, sir.
So I have other people that come in here, hey man, I'll show you how to do an LLC. You do it 35 minutes at home on your computer. So So with that being said, I had a lot of, again, you cutting hair for 22 years, man. I can, if I was to sit down and get a piece of paper, I can tell you probably 15, 20 people that I know that went and got their license and have CDLs. They either have a truck that they bought themselves or they're working for a trucking company. And then, you know, I pivot into different things in my life. I've been doing this for, 23 years. And I'm looking for something long-term, something that I can possibly retire upon. So I wanted to start that business. And again, I can go online. I could figure out the processes it take. And every step along the way, I did it myself. Now, my phone was bringing up, once I got my freight authority, I applied for that authority. It's cheaper than one would think, because people think, when you think of business, you think of the macro, the big part instead of the micro, the small pieces. Sure. So I did the first step and my phone blew up. Oh, we'll do this for you. We'll do that for you. We'll do this. We'll do that. And they were looking to make money off my ignorance. But this being the internet age, social media age, you have no excuse to be ignorant about anything. Sure. YouTube has everything on there at your fingertips. So I was able to navigate that and do everything for myself, And so I didn't have a great amount of overhead. So when I'm thinking of businesses, I think of low startup costs, low overhead businesses that you can do from home, businesses you can do. If you already have a business, you can do it within that business, right? If you already have a phone, you can use it on that phone. So I always think of things that I can do within the confines of what I'm already doing. Sure. So that is my mind frame of how I think about it. And then I go through the processes it takes to make it happen, so that is how I started. So I knew so many people that were doing, that had CDLs. I knew that they would need to get loads. I knew that being a freight broker, I didn't have to have a physical building. I knew I didn't have to own a physical truck. I just had to make calls and connections. And if we look at the climate of today, most billionaires are middlemen.
Like, break that down. Yeah.
Uber.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
They're middlemen. That's your car. That's your insurance.
You do, yeah. That's
your gas. I'm Uber. He needs a ride. He's going to call me. Yeah. I'm going to send him to you. You may charge him $20. I'm going to get $4 off that for doing nothing, just being a middleman. And the whole world is my client. So there's Uber in Germany. There's Uber in Paris. There's Uber in Houston, Texas. There's Uber in Waterloo. There's Uber. I just set up a computer program. I was smart enough to get Android to put it on their phone, Apple to put it on their phone. You ain't even got to download it. Yeah. Uber's already on there. You just got to activate it. Yeah. It's true. It's true. Yeah. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, middleman.
Yeah, middleman for sure. Yeah.
I mean, so that is what billionaires are nowadays.
Yes, sir.
So as a freight broker, I can make money by being a middleman without having to get a physical location, without having to own a physical truck. I just have to be smart enough to make connections with businesses that have freight and then connect them to people that have trucks. Sure. And they may make the big ton of money, but the portion I make, I didn't have to leave my house. Yeah. I didn't have to leave the barbershop to make it. I didn't have to go anywhere to do it. Sure. So that is how the formula to create, and you don't have to, again, when you think of business, you think of, oh, I got to make $188 million. No, bro.
Yeah.
No, you don't. That's nice. We all would love to have that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely nice. However, if I can make another $1,300 this month, with very little overhead, if I can make another $2,000, if I can make $5,000, the trucking industry is an $800 billion industry. 10% of that, $800 million. I ain't gonna get that.
But I mean,
but think about it.
Yeah.
So 1% of 800 billion.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And then half a so 1% of 800 billion is what? $8 million.
Yeah. Sheesh. Okay.
So that you make that in a year. You don't make you make half of that. 4 billion. So that's 5%. That's 0.5% is 4 million a year. So it's just, you just break down the numbers. And so when you think of anything, people get discouraged. We get discouraged because you think of the big thing. You start small where you at and you grow from there. So don't think of, oh man, I ain't gonna make 800 billion. You ain't supposed to make 800 billion. Can you get a percentage of that? And then how much do you need to operate comfortably so where you're not operating at a deficit? And then when you go from there, everything's a plus. And you have multiple streams. You don't need all of them to do the greatest. But if all of them are doing well, you're living a comfortable life. Sure. You can take care of your family. You can help people around you. And then the biggest aspect is about that is you can share the knowledge that you learn firsthand with someone else.
Sure.
And that's what I've been trying to do my whole life. You know, I've had people chide me before. Man, why are you helping that dude? He ain't gonna be a barber with you. Bro, I'm not his enemy. He ain't my enemy. By the grace of God, be able to do what I do and have been doing for the last 23 years. So if I can help him, we can help each other. And I don't have a problem with that.
And I was going to say, too, that's something that I noticed about you. Well, before I even go to that question, let me start off with this question. Like, when you're juggling all these businesses and stuff like that, like, when do you find time to just chill out and just, you know what I'm saying, and just release all the stress and, you know what I'm saying, like a long day of work and you just come home, like what are you doing to relax is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that is something that, you know, people around me, they can kind of see my life change a little bit. You know, some will say I'm uptight. Some will say I don't know how to have fun or let my guard down, you know, because I was tightly wound on trying to do different things and really not enjoying life as I'm trying to do now. But again, my children, when you say family man, my children are now grown. And my youngest, she isn't grown. She'll be 18 in December, but she lives with she lives out of town with her mother. So, I'm free. I'm empty nest. I'm 45 years old. You know what I mean? I'm empty nest. So what I do now, man, I go to the gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I scored me a PlayStation 5 in October. You know what I mean? I may jump on that every now and then to release. I got my motorcycle that you asked me about. I ride that. So those are the things that I'm finding comfort in at this time, you know, but really the most important thing for me right now is this self-care, you know, of me going to the gym, working out, trying to take care of myself in that way, because that's something that, you know, was neglected for so long for me. So that is where I find my joy at right now. And, you know, self-analysis, you know, is very important that we do for ourselves. And I've known that I've tried to do too many things in business, and I try to handle everything. So now I'm trying to delegate more and attract people around me to help me to be successful, because you can only be so successful to the extent that you can do everything, and our energy, it wanes. We get tired. We get too much. We forget things that we can do. So that's really what I'm in now. I'm trying to bring people around me to help in the bail bonds, to help in the freight business.
Sure.
You know, finding quality people around me to, you know, to take more responsibility in the barbershop and delegate more in that way. And that is something that is new to me. You know, honestly, it's new to me, but it's something that's essential. That's one of my goals for this year, is to be more of a businessman in that frame.
Yes, sir.
To have people around me to do things so that, you know, these businesses that I have can go to be from, you know, there's the aspect of making a job for yourself, which is great. That's great. Or having a business. Having a job for yourselves meaning you have to be there all the time to make money. And while you're there, you do make money. It's a job that you made for yourself, or a business for yourself. It makes money when you're not even there. When you're on vacation, when you're handling something else, when you're doing something else to make sure the business sustains and moves into the future. A business makes money even while you're not physically there. A job only makes money when you're there to operate it. So I'm trying to transition all of the things that I have on my plate and make them businesses.
Yes, sir.
Full-fledged businesses, and where they're making money even when I'm not present.
So this is a personal question too, because now that you got me really thinking. So how do you go about trusting somebody, like, especially when you built 3 different babies for your, like, I call businesses babies, you know what I'm saying? So if you build 3 different babies for yourself, like, how do you go and say, okay, take care, like, how do you trust somebody to take care of what you've done built? You know, like, I don't know. Like, I guess, okay, like, the question that I'm trying to get to is, like, for myself, I know I'm 27 years old, but, like, I have, like, a small little cleaning business. And, like, always in my head, I know I have to, like, figure out how to find employees to at least help me with the cleaning. So tomorrow I'm not like, oh shoot, whatever, dead or whatever. But my whole thing is like, okay, I don't know if I could say, hey, Bob, or hey, Scott, could you go to X, Y, and Z place to clean it and feel comfortable enough that they've done the work and I could sleep at night and not have to worry about, like, how do you know, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that aspect of not worrying is never going to go away.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Never. Okay. But you can mitigate it. So first and foremost, make that person work with you.
Training. Yep.
So they understand your expectations and your processes of how you do it. Once they work with you, interact with them to gauge their personality and how they respond under pressure. One thing about business is that you don't want someone who can't represent your business out of your presence the way you want it to be represented. That is like the death knell.
Yes, sir.
You know, when you're not present, they act totally different than the presentation that you've been given to your customers for the whole time. And when you do those things, you got to learn to trust in terms of, I've poured enough into you to be able to, it's like deposit, it's like a bank. I've deposited enough into you as a person that now I can make withdrawals. Okay. You know, and a lot of times we as people in interaction with each other, we try to pull stuff out of people, then you ain't deposited enough into that person. You ain't put enough goodwill. You ain't said enough good things. You haven't deposited any help. When they needed you, you haven't done anything for them. Now you coming up trying to make withdrawals.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So we need to look at each other as, what have I deposited in that person before I go to this person and ask? Now I got a bank of friends that I've deposited a lot of good words and good friendship, and I've helped them. And so I know there's a number of friends I get on the phone and call. I'm confident that they'll respond to me.
Yes, sir. Because
I've deposited in them. And that's the same thing in business, man. You deposit time, care, you know, concern about what's going on with them. That's one thing that hurts us when we get these jobs. You know, sometimes we get trapped, but something happens and your employer is like, I don't give a damn, you're gonna be here or not. Yeah. Ooh. If you're not here, then we're gonna write you up. Like, man, whatever the situation is.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, so that is how you learn to trust on those things, is you work with that person. And then in that work, be diligent in watching how they respond to things. And when you see that, you know, I can't trust that person for that.
Yes.
I may be able to trust them to do this, but I can't trust them to do that. And learn that each individual person, you can't talk to them all the same. You got to respond to person in the way that is advantageous for that. You play sports,
yes,
you know how it was. You know, one coach yell at everybody.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Some player, he's super cold, but he don't like getting yelled at, so he don't get the same type of response. You know, on the field or the court or wherever. You know what I mean. So, you know, great coaches know. I can yell at Jimmy. I got to go over here and pull Bob to the side and explain to him a little differently.
Yeah.
My expectations are the same.
Yeah.
But my approach with each individual person will be a little different.
I like that answer too. Ooh, okay. So like back to family and stuff like that. How like, what's the word? How excited are you to wake up every single day and look to your left and know that your son is working alongside with you?
Yeah, man, that's my boy.
Because I seen that and I'm like, yo, that is goals, man.
But think about that.
Yes,
you know?
sir.
I was in Barber college. I graduated June 4th, 99. Opened business June 26th, 1999.
Before he was born.
And he was born November 7th in 1999. So he was, you know, my wife at the time was pregnant with him. So to think of, you know, and I sent him along the same path. I have 4 children. I have 8 children total. 3 grandbabies when I have my wife, my current wife, her children, my children. So there's 8 of us, 9. You know, we you know, our son, you know, lost his life in 2020. But so 9 children, 3 grandbabies.
Sorry.
And so my son, you know, I pushed my children, excuse me, to go to college.
Yes, sir.
Not because college is the end all to be all, but there is a lot you can learn through the process of college. But so he didn't want to go, and that's fine. He didn't want to go. And so he decided he wanted to be a barber. You know, I asked him, is that what you want to do? It looks all glamour and glitz. You know, the barbers got J's on and they, you know what I mean? It looks like they can do what they want to do and come as they want to come and do. Yeah, it looks that way. But it turns out to anything is work.
Yes, sir.
You're going to have to work. And what you put in it is what you get out of it. You go back to that deposit we talking about. What you put in is what you get out. So I love to see, you know, just to watch his growth, to see him. I know probably some days he probably feel like I'm getting on his nerves. But, you know, it does make me proud. I do look up and like, wow, I've been cutting long enough to now I'm cutting hair with my son. And I'm not super old. I'm 45, you know what I'm saying? I'm young, flying, flashy in my head, you know what I'm saying? You can't tell me otherwise, you know? So, you know, but to look up and see him every day. So that's a joy, you know, that's a joy. And to know that wherever he goes on the planet, he can make a way for himself, you know? Sure. You blindfold him and spin the globe, and it says, you know, Lithuania. Well, they got hair in Lithuania, yeah. And they need haircuts. Yeah. He can make a way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you spin the globe. You know, take him to South Africa. Hey, he can make a way for himself there because he has a tangible skill. So that makes me feel good. You know. And it is my boy, so I'm probably, you know, father-dad dynamic. He probably feels like I get on his nerves at times, but it's a great feeling to have him working with me.
So, like, what's like your 5-year goal, your 5-year plan for Barbershop? Like, not Barbershop, for the shop. Like, what's your 5-year goal? Like, where do you want to be at with
5-year goal for the Barbershop? You want all businesses? You just want the barbershop?
All yeah, I was going to go.
Okay. So we got 5 years for the barbershop. I want to get the barbershop in a situation in which I have enough quality staff. By that time, I want to cut less. So I may even, have my chair filled with someone else. I have entertained and am still strongly entertaining the thought and the idea of moving to Arizona.
Why is he?
My mother's there.
Okay.
My mother moved down there. And as we went through the history a little bit, I left. I graduated high school in 1995. I went to the University of Iowa. I moved to Des Moines in 1996. I opened up a business. My business works on the weekends, so I didn't spend many weekends going back home to seeing her. So we're 20 years apart. I'm 45. She's 65. It's very important to me to have some more memories with my mother.
Yes, sir.
So I'm transitioning to have the barbers here, take care of the barbershop in terms of either running it for me, or selling it to one of them, letting them have it and achieving it and achieving that American dream for themselves.
Like selling it to one of.
That's still
what?
That's still, infantile in is development, but you asked me 5 years, so that's what I look like. So the crux of what the 5 years look for me is me working less, because 5 years from now I'll be in this thing 28 years, almost 30 years, and then as I pull back from that, then expanding my other businesses. My 5-year goal, you haven't asked me yet, but I'll jump to that. My 5-year goal for my freight broker business is to be $500,000 to $1 million in gross in that business. I've never ran a business with a monetary desire as a forefront.
Yeah. Wait, what you mean?
So again, I started as a one-chair barbershop in 1999, one chair. And I was just looking to take care of my family. I didn't have no real, I want to be this, I want to have this, I want to have this chairs, I want to have 15 chairs. It was just me. So everything that happened in the barbershop happened organically. So I moved to a new location. I could put a few more chairs in there. I went from 1-chair to 3-chair barbershop. I moved from there. I moved up to Mr. Lowry. I still had the same 3 chairs. I added another chair. There was 4 chairs. I moved out from Mr. Lowry's. I came over here. There was 5 chairs. I added 5 chairs. And then I went from 5 chairs to I added 1. I added 6 chairs. This is not a very big location. So it's just 6 chairs. But I never had I never made a financial goal. I was just trying to take care of my family, and in the process of doing that, I had too many customers for myself primarily. So I had other barbers that come in and can help me take care of those customers, and they were able to make a clientele for themselves from that aspect. But my goal wasn't, I want to make $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 as a barber. It was just organically taking care of my family. When I did the bail bonds, I did that, again, I did that way back in 1996. My buddy had a business, speedy release bail bonds. So I learned the business then. I had a friend that had a bail bond. I started to help him a little bit. He went out of business, so I just opened it up for myself.
With the bail bond in business, does that? So I wanted to ask a question about that. When you have you ever ran into a situation where okay, maybe you see somebody from maybe I don't know, maybe you kicked it with him and then he come across your screen and now you have to go bond him out. Does that ever get awkward, or how do you treat situations like that?
Well, man, bad things happen to good people all the time.
Yes, sir.
And if interactions with police is universal that we've experienced. You don't always you're not guilty of everything that happened. I'll give you an example. It's crazy, but this is actual charges.
Yeah.
We friends.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm at your house.
Okay.
We drinking that night. I get crazy. We're just talking hypotheticals. So say you or I get drunk. It's your house. So say I got drunk. You live in an apartment. I'm getting a little crazy. I'm getting a little belligerent. You like, hey man, I love you. It's time for you to go.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody else here, the ruckus, they a little pissed off. They call the police. Man, my neighbors is out here tripping. It's late. I'm trying to sleep. Please show up. Okay. So now that's how the police get involved. Okay. So you like, Byron, go home. I'm like, nah, man, I ain't going nowhere. Why you treat me like this? My cell phone's in there. You like, man, hey, man, you can't come back in here. You got to go.
Yeah.
I pushed my way inside your house to get my cell phone.
Oh, that's breaking and entering.
Burglary.
Yeah,
but did I really burglarize you?
No.
I forced my way into your home. I didn't take anything. Now, if a cop wants to charge me of that, which they have, I've seen it 1,000 times. So then you go on Polk County, and you're going to see Byron, and you're going to have my mug shot, my eyes is going to be bloodshot, it look crazy. It's going to say burglary.
Whole time, yeah.
And you're going to be like, dang, Byron out here kicking in people's houses and breaking in people. And you're going to look at me like I'm crazy. Yeah. Then I'm going to go through the court process. They're going to drop it down. I may get disorderly conduct. I may get whatever, but that is how it looks. So everything you see on that Polk County, don't be the full snapshot of what's going on. They have a disclaimer. You know, people probably look over that disclaimer. So I've had individuals in which I've known they got charged with some of them crazy things, some of them very minor things, but I don't let that really influence me. I look at the integrity of the person. Will they go to court? The charge is secondary. Will you go to court to face it and handle it and get it done so I don't have to owe money on your behalf? Outside of that, I don't really take much stock in what the charges were. There's some charges, regardless to whom or what, I just don't mess with. I don't mess with.
So like, are you like, so you can get a call at like 2 in the morning. Right. You would have to get up and go bond somebody out.
Yeah. But again, like I said, I'm trying to pivot. Yeah. So I got other people that
do that.
I'm starting to use to do the, hey man, I got this call, handle this bond. And I got to pay them for doing that. But that's fine because, you know, it's hard to, you know, this is my baby. This is the number one, the barbershop. This is paid the bills for, you know, this is the one, the consistent. This is when I know, you know, every Tuesday I'm going to make money. Every Wednesday I'm going to make money. The bail bonds is up and down. The freight broker, that's going to be up and down. But this is my consistent cash cow in which I can rely on. So, but when the phone goes off and I see the person. Now, there are some people, because of their relationship with me, that I'm going to personally get up out of bed and make sure they get out of jail.
Yes, sir.
You know, and those people know who they are, and there's different type of relationships that I've built. But, I make sure, you know, I get them out.
So like, okay. So when you hear, because something that I used to hear growing up is like, oh, you don't want to be a cop. You don't want to be a cop. And to me, like that kind of like messed up like the community, because I would much rather have like a friend that I knew growing up pull me over opposed to like somebody from a hick town pull me over and don't understand like the community or who I am as a whatever. Anyway, so like, how do you feel when like, you know, the older generation telling the younger generations like, oh, don't be a cop, don't do nothing when it comes to like the justice system and stuff like that. Like,
well, you know, bail bonding is regulated by the insurance industry. It's a form of insurance, so I have an insurance license.
Yes, sir.
The Iowa Board of Insurance. So it's very separate from law enforcement. But that aspect of don't be a cop, from my understanding and how I look at it, is that it's not necessarily the cop itself, but it's the system that you are part of as a cop. all your great intentions are sometimes overrode by the difficulties that's embedded in that system itself.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, you know, there's been a myriad of black people that tried their best to be great cops and in great situations. White people as well, various heritages and backgrounds of individuals that go into and try to be good public servants and be good officers of the law. But there are certain things that's just embedded in the system, you know, that is why, you know, people say you should go into your local elections and go into your smaller political races in order to have a true and honest effect on what affects you as people on an individual day. So that's the aspect that I look at that, you know, and the most so. But then I go back to the community for me, and we are our own answer.
Sure.
You know, when you ask me about Waterloo and the connection to community, and people could just sit and they can think about this. Like, there was a time where you knew, you know, 90s, 80s, 70s, whatever you want to pick, what decade you want to pick. Well, you knew everybody on the block. Mm-hmm. Now you go over your homeboy's house and be like, hey, who that next door? I don't know, and I don't mess with them. Come on, you coming here or not? You don't know our neighbors like that. I don't care who your neighbor are, black, white, or yellow. Yeah. Purple. You should know your neighbors. The community should know the members of that community so that the community can take care of each other. Sure. You know what I mean? I go out of town. I want to be. I know Mr. Smith next door. I know Mrs. Ann. Miss Ann nosy. Yeah. But I'm glad she nosy because I'm out of town. And if somebody show up at my house, Miss Ann could be like, man, there's a black Cadillac truck out here. Do you know these people? Yes, sir. And I'm like, no. And Miss Ann know what to do from there. You know what I'm saying? So that's why community is important. We are our own answer. And so, you know, when we look at the difficulties that we have in our community and gun violence and different things like that, when we know each other, we're not as apt to physically harm and physically try to bring, you know, damage upon each other and the people that you know. Sure. And when you have a community in which you don't know anybody, you don't know your neighbors, you don't know the individuals in the community, you have no connection to them. And so whatever happens, happens. Sure. And we see that all throughout the country in various cities, various places, you know, so it's very important, the community. So that aspect is where we can control ourselves. Community, you know, is very important in that aspect in my estimation and how I look at it.
Whew, that was deep, bruh. So we're going to get a little goofy right here. If you had to, without revealing any names, what is the funniest bail bonds story that you got?
Funniest?
Yeah, the funniest that you can tell on camera.
Oh man, there's the funniest.
Just like something you like.
I don't know if it's funny. I don't know if it's creepy. I don't know what it is. Hey, so I get a letter. Thick letter too. I'm like, damn, who the hell? The name on the letter, never seen, don't know this person's name. Yeah. Never heard of him. Female. This person heard of me. And she's like, I'm pregnant. I heard about you, and I want you to help me get out of jail. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, people have been talking about you in here, and they say you do this, and you say you do that.
You the plug.
I'm like, man, what the heck? And she's going throughout the letter, and she's telling, you know, and she's like, man, I got pressure on parts of my. I'm like, whoa, too much information. And I'm like, sweetheart, I don't know what they told you, but I bond people out for money. I don't want none of the honey. You know what I'm saying? I ain't nobody's trick.
I said none of the honey.
Yeah, like, I can't help you. You know what I mean? And so I just thought it was hilarious that she just sent me this big old long letter, man. She talking, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, sweetheart. You can't get in there. But that's the thing about, bail bonds and this being insurance. You can kind of look at the circumstances and the situations and can see which bonds are safer. Mm-hmm. There's no bond that's 100% safe, but there's some bonds are safer, and there's some things that just scream hell no from the beginning. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, dude don't live here. He got a dope case. His address is Chicago, Milwaukee, Texas, wherever. You like, bro, you traveling through town. Oh, man, I'm coming back from court. Yeah, right. You know what I'm saying? Who comes back? You know what I'm saying? I don't even live here. You get me out. And the few times I violate those principles, it was just $1,000 bond in one case. The dude, oh man, I live in Georgia, but I'm a man of my word. And I, okie doke, okay. And I bonded him out. And true to when he got out, he went to Georgia and never came back to pay that bond. Now, luckily, his cosigner was a man of integrity. His cosigner was real, and his cosigner paid that money to me that he was supposed to. But you can see those type of things from a mile away if you just look at it, So you can use your street senses, you can use your spider senses, you can use, basic deduction, and you can see what's a good bond and what isn't, and you just leave it alone.
Sir. So just a few more questions left for you. Have you ever, when dealing with these, juggling these different businesses, have you ever got to a point where you're like, all right, I can't take it no more, like things is maybe getting too overwhelming? And if so, like, what do you do to overcome those situations to make sure the next day isn't like that day?
Man, you take a step back and you remember how blessed you are.
Yes, sir.
Just decompress for a second. You got a business. You're able to provide for yourself. You're able to provide for your family. You're able to help people in your community. People, you can see people grow up, see kids grow up, see people coming in here, with their children, and you cut their hair as children, and you realize, man, that what you're griping about ain't really all that.
Yes, sir.
It's par for the course. You're gonna learn. You're gonna have good days. You're gonna have bad days, but it's par for the course, man. It's a part of the learning process, and life is that perpetual. One thing about when you talk about the basis of me. We said the Nation of Islam is one thing that I've learned, and that says, God is our guardian evolver, that he evolves us step by step into eventual perfection. And when it's perfection, that's a lifelong process. Yes, so if you go through some stuff and you struggling a little bit, man, you keep it going, man. You lick your wounds. You learn to don't discredit what you're going through. Mm-hmm. Don't disregard it, but look at it, see it, feel it. Cry for a moment, scream for a moment, hit the heavy bag if you need to, hit some weights, get under some weights you ain't never tried before, whatever you need to do in that moment, but realize that is just a moment. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
It's just a moment.
Yes, sir.
As bad as 2020 was, we was all stuck in our house. We look back, now that's 2 years ago. We looking, it was a moment in time. Sure. You know what I mean? And so that's the thing, that you just see that life, man, it's going to keep going, Life is going. So you either go with it or you get left behind.
Sure.
So that's what I try to do.
And how is today balancing friendship, relationship, and just I guess more so how do you balance friendship and business? I'm sure there's some friends that you grew up with that was just absolutely not good for you. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure today, you probably still have those friends. Mm-hmm. How do you keep business and friendship to like, you know what I'm saying? Make sure it's not crossing each other and getting in the way of your success.
And what aspect of that do you mean in particular? Like,
so like if there's like friends out there that may, you know, because you're someone who is married, and if you have friends out there that may like don't care, could be singles, like, hey Byron, like let's go out here, let's get a couple of drinks, let's go to the strip club, and maybe trying to get you to spend extra money that you don't want to have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, because there's friends out there that
right, okay, I understand what you said.
Yeah.
So for me, the answer for that is, if you stand on the principles of who you are, regardless to whom or what, people have to respect that.
Yes, sir.
And that means you got to be consistent. We talked about the consistency. We talked about doing unto others as you have them do unto you. So that consistency is really important, of personal consistency. This is who I am. This is what I do. Peer pressure, you know, I don't succumb to that.
Yeah, peer pressure.
I love you. And then don't ever think you better than nobody.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I am who I am. I'm going to be me. I'm not better than you. I'm just me. So what happens is that sometimes we go through a little personal growth. We change something we do, and now we start to look at people, even though we just did that 2 months ago. We was just hanging out with them 6 months ago. Now all of a sudden, we better. Never.
Yes, sir.
Don't take that approach. Just, hey, bro, this is me. This is what I'm trying to do. You respect that. And if you speak to people in that matter, they're forced to respect it. I'm never better than you. I'm not no greater. You know what I'm saying? We are each other. That's what I say, that community, that family basis. Man, you got all gamut of clientele that comes in here. Quote unquote street people, quote unquote church and religious people, quote unquote doctors and lawyers and intellects and bumbling idiots and fools, quote unquote.
Yeah.
But they all are valuable and worthy
to what you're doing.
And if you take that space, so I don't, you know, I just stick to who I am.
Yes, sir.
You know,
okay.
and that has translated well for me for 23 years. Just be who I am.
Yes, sir.
I ain't better than you. I know that, and I make that a point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to give everybody respect.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? The janitor that works at McDonald's is worthy of respect. That man is, or woman, that person is providing for their family in the way that they can do right now. They're worthy of respect.
Yes, sir.
That bum on the street, quote unquote bum on the street, that person, that homeless person, is a human being that's worthy of respect.
Yes, sir.
Their life may not be where they want it to be right now, but it can change in the blink of an eye. And the rich man could be there and the poor man can be up. So if you have those principles that you live off of, a lot of the stuff we be struggling over, man, is just, it don't really mean nothing. So that's how I balance it. I try to balance it like that. It's like, man, bro, hey, it could be good today, it could be bad tomorrow. It always can be worse.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And hey, fam, you know, I don't do strip clubs, man. Hey, you can have a good time. I'm not gonna go there with you.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, people around me, they try, hey, man, you gonna come drinking with me tonight? You know I'm not.
Be straight up.
You know I'm not, but I love you anyway. I know I love you too. So let's just do it like that. I know I was just gonna see what you was gonna say. One day you're gonna say, maybe. Maybe. You know what I mean? So, and just keep it like that, man, and just keep it moving.
So
that humility, being humble is very important.
No, yes, sir. No, that's a fact. So this is a two-part question. This can kind of somewhat be our last question, whatever, but it's a two-part. What would your advice be to maybe the high schooler, No, okay. What would your advice be to the kid that's looking up to you, that could be sitting in the chair wondering how Byron became Byron? And then not only that, what would your advice also be to the young black entrepreneur that's trying to figure it out? That may be like 21, don't want to go to college, but he knows he wants to be an entrepreneur, make some type of income. Like, if that's asked the best way.
So to the young kid, young child, first and foremost, take your time as a child. Do not rush to be grown. This shit's overrated. Paying bills every damn day. Like take advantage of that time. Be innocent as long as you can. Be taken care of and provided for your parents, especially when you got good, hard-working parents that's trying. Take advantage of that as long as possible. Don't rush, right? Surround yourself with good, like-minded people that want to help you, that wants to invest in seeing you be successful. If it's a teacher at school, if it's a coach, if it's somebody else's parent, who works and they can link up with your parents and help you. So take your time. Don't rush to get old as a child. That's an old song, man. I think I forget the name of it. It's a song that I love. You know what I mean? It was take your time, young man. Don't rush to get old is one of the verses of the song. But take your time as a child. Don't be in a rush. Enjoy high school, enjoy middle school, go to the proms, go to the graduations, go to the homecomings, do those things, because it's funny that most people get grown and they still think about their high school years. You still people 55 years old talking about their high school years. So, one of the advice I gave my 17-year-old, Dad, I ain't going to prom. I said, why? Well, I don't want to go. I said, sweetheart, you're going to be out of school in a year or so. You're never going to get it back. Take your time. Enjoy these things while you can. To a young entrepreneur, and a young person itself, young person, I would say, if I could speak back to my own self at 22 years, if I could speak back to my own self at 19 years old, I would say, learn yourself.
Why is that?
Because, we read these books, we get on the internet, we get this information, we get all these different things, and we don't learn the knowledge of ourselves and who we are. Why do you think the way you think? Why do you? And there's things that happen to us in our life. Now I'm saying this as a person, and I want to throw this in just because there's a stigma and it's a taboo, and it's big in some space. It's mental health. I've been seeing a therapist for like 7 years. And it's nothing wrong with me. Never has been anything wrong with me. But I'm learning to understand how I process, how I think about things, how things that happened to me at 19, 22, 21, 14 as a kid, 6 years old as a kid, shaped the way I think. Okay. So if you know certain things about yourself, meaning how you process disappointment, how you process social anxiety situations, that instead of being uncomfortable, you can recognize, okay, in this situation, I do this. It's good for me to shelter because this is chaotic. It's good for me to shelter and step away in this moment because this is a dangerous situation, or this is a situation that I'm uncomfortable in, but I can learn a lot. So like, say for example, you at a park and it's a lot of people and you feeling something and you hear some arguments. That's the time your social anxiety say, hey man, leave. That's the time that you listen to that. Oh, I'm out of here, I'm bounced. And then you look on the news and such and such happened at such and such park. Man, that was a good thing. Or you going to a mixer, and there's different type of individuals and photographers and things and business oriented people, and you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And so your social anxiety says leave, but that's the time where you like, no, fight that. Because I can learn in this environment. I can be better in this environment. It's going to help me for where I want to go down the future. So I'm a little awkward, but I'm going to breathe. I'm going to face it. And somebody else in here is just as awkward as I am, and I'm going to learn something today. So I say learn yourself for a young entrepreneur. Learn what your strengths are. Learn what your weaknesses are. Find people to help bolster up your weaknesses, and find people that accent and help your strengths. And again, that's 23 years of doing this shit for real. You know what I mean?
Was it like, so like, I'm sure like in the beginning though, like, was it like awkward and just like, just having to be professional and just like was that space new to you? Like when you first, this is just personal.
That
now.
space wasn't new, again, because I spent my summers in college campuses, and I spent my summers in places like that. So that wasn't new, but being gregarious and outgoing, people like, oh, you so outgoing, I bet you. And I was told y'all earlier, that wasn't me in high school. I wasn't the popular kid. I wasn't, the class clown. I wasn't, I was shrink from various stages. I look back now, my homeboys got thousands of memories, and I'm like, damn, I pulled myself back. I didn't go to my own prom. I didn't go to homecoming events. I didn't, I was at home. I was taking myself away from those. Okay. So I learned in business, especially as a barber, you have to sell yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to make a connection with the person that's sitting in your chair. Because as you see now, there's hundreds of barbers in the city, some damn good barbers in the city. So what are you going to do to separate yourself? What connection are you going to make with that person that they're going to say, when I need my haircut, I'm going to go to Byron? And then what did you pour into them? What did you say positively to them? Like I said, that goes into man, I love you. It ain't just something I'm saying. I actually do love my customers because they've provided me a life in which I've been able to provide well for my wife now, provide well for my children, my stepchildren, they're my children. Provide for my children, provide for my grandbabies. I can able to go on a vacation, you know what I mean? Do things for myself. So I do love them. They have helped me to be who I am. So I've learned that to be that way, do business. And then some days after business, after I leave the shop, man, I check out, man. Like, man, we'll never see you around, because I go back to being that part of me that still needs to shy away from the big scene and the big stage. I've never wanted the big scene. I never wanted the big stage. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I longed for. I didn't want to be known. I didn't go around saying, you're going to know me, you're going to feel me, you're going to understand. I never went around it. I was just humble. I helped the people that I can help. I interacted with those who wanted to interact with me, but I never tried to get a big name. Supreme is a big name for you because you've been here, but, it's not the first name that comes to mind in the barbering in Des Moines. I'm big on the east side but this is not the biggest side of town. You know what I mean? This is not the happening side of town. You think of all the stuff that happens, you think of the west side. But
I think the east side. I don't know, because maybe on the east side.
That may be the case, but that's just
you're right,
that's just my mentality.
Yes,
is what I'm speaking to more so as just the humble servant mentality is what I try to have and try to exhibit. Because we are we got.
Sure.
We are the answers to the ills of our community. It lies in us. It lies in what you're doing. Just to say to you, I'm proud of you for what you're doing. To take it and to use, social media, to use, making podcasts. Everybody can have a voice. If you don't have to go to WHO and get a job to have a voice no more.
Yeah.
You don't have to go get on a radio station and apply for an FCC license no more.
What's that? Like
Federal Communications, FCC.
Oh, that be on the radio.
Yeah. You don't have to go through that to get on the radio to have a voice now.
Yes, sir.
This is reach all the people we need to reach, right? So, kudos to you, for doing that, for creating this, for a platform for people to have a voice and to say something.
Shout out to Midwest too, man.
Shout out to Midwest. I talked to him earlier and I gave him his fire. And that, like I said, that is something I purposely try to do when I see people.
Yes, sir.
And when you leave my presence, I pray to God that I said something positive to you that you can remember, or it may come from left field at the moment. Why the hell? But then later you're like, I needed to hear that. Because it don't be me. God uses all of us. You know what I mean? But I do purposely want to be a positive voice in the people I interact with. I don't want to have negative interactions with anyone.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I try to purposely be positive. And, and you reap what you sow. You get that back. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. And I could definitely say, like, when it comes to giving your flowers too, like, you're someone in the community that's been here for like so many, like, I don't even know where to start with this. Like you're somebody that's been here in the community for so many years, bro. And it's like I know for a fact when I used to go to school, like I never used to ask like business questions or any of that. So like coming in here is like learning from you and getting these business questions answered and just watching you. First of all, just watching you as a man and as a father, like seeing your son in here and stuff like that. Like to me, like just seeing, like I like you don't see that on a daily basis out in the street. Right. You know what I'm saying? And not even that, like you don't get access to African Americans that do own businesses that will allow you to ask them questions and be like, hey bro, this is how you do it, this is how you start, like how you just broke down the LLC. Right. I don't know if that kind of went over people's head, but you know, like people just aren't willing to open up like that. Right. So like to give you your flowers, bro, like I want to say thank you for that one.
I appreciate it.
And just thank you for, always being there too to cut everybody's hair, especially my family. Right. You know what I'm saying? We do appreciate you for that one. And, being a pillar in the community, like I said, like somebody that we can come to and ask, but like I don't go to no barbershop and I talk the way that I talk to you. Like, hey Byron, how do you do this? Or I'm not as open as I am at other barbershop as I am here, because I know like this barbershop means a lot. And one last part, like even when I like, so like sometimes like I find myself like on the west side or something, or wherever in West Des Moines, right, and I'm getting my hair cut, right, and like I will sit there in the chair and I feel so guilty because I'm here and
you cheating on me.
Yeah, man. I'm like, yo, man, I should not be doing this right now. So I had to stop all that and I had to come back to Supreme. I'm gonna nick
your left ear next time, man. You know what I'm saying?
But I do appreciate you, Byron.
Oh, appreciate you too, bro.
Seriously. Right. So with that being said, congratulations on your 23-year anniversary.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Of business.
Yes.
Moving forward, what does that mean for you to be 23 years, black owned, consistent?
Wow, yeah.
Consistent is no other, even through the pandemic, through it all, like you're still here, you're still thriving, you're still moving, like 23 years of business.
That damn Facebook reminded me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Like, such and such, you celebrate. I'm like, damn, today is the 23rd. And then we already had his interview set up. Yes, I'm like, look at God, look how stuff come together.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Because it wasn't even in my head, the 23. And then I look at it, I'm like, I'm 45, but been in business 23 years. Yeah. Over half my life.
Yeah.
And then the aspect of being able to be self-employed and doing for myself for that long. You just got to sit back and be like, man, that's beautiful. You know what I mean? My 20-year anniversary, I threw, a little party and I gave away free food, and we did kids haircuts. I think we did them like $10 or at a reduced rate that day. And I fed the community. Anybody that wanted to come by here, they get, so I'll probably do something again for my 25th. But it is something I'm very thankful for. To look up and to be able to say that I've been in business for 23 years, made it through the pandemic, ups and downs, and been able to be here as you say, as a pillar, and I'd be just very much thankful for that and what it represents. I've seen barbershops come and go. I see businesses come and go. I've had changes. I had barbers come and go. I had, things change in my life around me. Some painful, not some, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful, to be able to say I'm in business, thankful for my family now, thankful for my wife, Pastor Muhammad and her support of me, and, my family and the connections that I've been able to make, so I'm just, thankful for all of those things, and I think back to the customers that's been, you think of, I start cutting the kids' hair at 4. Mm-hmm. He's 27 now.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah.
I cut a kid at 13, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, wow. Yeah. 36 years old now. Like, I got customers, I'm like, wow. You went from being, to a child when I started cutting your hair, adolescent. So when you think of, I started at 22 years old. You think of 22-year-old young man and a 14-year-old kid. You think of, man, that's a grown up. That's a kid. You know what I mean? 22. 7 years is a lot in that time. But now you look up 7 years. I'm 45. That means they're 38.
Woo. Yeah.
We're contemporaries now. Yeah. When I started cutting her hair, it was like, this is a man I can look up. Now they're looking, and we're in the same
age bracket. Yes, sir. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just, when I look at that sometimes, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. You seem like a little kid when I cut your hair. Now we looking eye to eye. I'm 45, you 38. You know what I mean? You 38, 37. So it's like, it's crazy. So I'd be appreciative of that.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Today is one of them days you just be like thankful. Be very thankful.
Yeah. See, and consistency, man. Consistency. That's all I can think of when I hear 23, like consistency.
Yeah.
Ooh. You got anything else that you want to share? Oh, yeah. One last thing.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
No, I didn't have anything. You learn as a barber to just pull some shit together real quick if you need to, just to talk. But I just think the biggest thing is, we've been saying it, in this interview, and that is, we are our own answers, man. Like, whatever problems that we see in our community, the answer don't lie outside. It don't lie in the state house. It don't lie in the mayor's office. The answers lie amongst us.
Yes, sir.
And we are our own salvation. That's why community, that's why family is so important. That's why it's so important that I feed into the people that come in here and be around me. That's why it's so important to me, because what I say to you positively can change your life, and you can help somebody else. And if you help somebody and that person helps somebody, it's a big old chain. It's a giant circle. We are connected to each other. And no matter how successful we get, you can never get separated outside of the success of your people. Because when you look at Black America, we have billionaires all over the place. Well, not all over the place. We have some billionaires. We have a lot of millionaires in terms of athletes and entertainers. And we can still look at the overall condition of our people. It's still poor. So you can never escape or get so successful that you're outside of the condition of your people. And that's why we are so important to each other. That's why we are so important. The fact that Jay-Z is a billionaire don't stop the difficulty that goes on in the inner city of Chicago. It don't help the poorness that we see. If, you know, my wife works into the schools that's in the black community here in Des Moines. It doesn't change that. You know, with all the billionaires, you know, there's some people that go on and they do the net worth of a black family is what?
Like, I think it's lower than six figures.
Okay. The net worth for, you know, I don't know these numbers as of actual facts. We can do estimates. You got six figures for a white family, and you got less than 10 or 12 or 20,000 for a black family. But we got billionaires. We got millionaires amongst our people. Yeah. Why is that? Because we are connected as individuals. We are connected as a community. And that is basically the crux of who I try to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't have a lot of money. I'm not rich in terms of that, but I'm rich in terms of my relationships and my connections to people. Yes, you know, I feel I can walk throughout the city, and I have had we have our bad days.
Yeah.
We ain't angels.
Yes,
we mess up. Everybody in the city like me? No.
Yeah.
Have I hurt somebody's feeling? Of course I have.
Yes,
am I willing to apologize? Absolutely I am. But the reality is that the majority of the people I interact with should have something positive to say about me. And that makes me feel great.
Sir.
That is that's worth to me more than having $15 million in the bank. Being a man that can say he's been a positive role model. And that's, you know, that's ultimately the crux of who I want people to know who I am. You know what I mean? So when they come here and they experience a barbershop, they come back. If they go somewhere else, I still love you. If you come back and get a haircut, that's the crux of what I want you to understand about me. And that's the most important thing.
Do you think, like, you remember Boys and Girls Club?
Mm-hmm.
So when you seen that building go down, even though they moved it, I can't, well, never mind. Because they kind of moved it to Hyatt. But do you think, when they tore down Logan Boys and Girls Club, like that kind of played a role with how our community was kind of shaped? Like, because at that time, I feel like less violence was going on. Then once they shut down Logan Boys and Girls Club, like more violence started to happen on the east side. Like,
man, when you go into the violence aspect, man, there's so much to go into that. You know, but that, you know, I guess you could say there's a correlation between the two. But the bigger aspect of, you know, violence on the east side, violence on the west side, violence in general, goes back to cliques, this, that, and a lack of knowing your community. You know what I mean? And then, you know, if you always had violence, you know, but it wasn't gun violence, you know, it was just a little fisticuffs. We fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Win or lose, you know, go home holding your eye, get clowned by your homeboys if you lost, get celebrated by your homeboys if you won, but you live to tell another day.
Yes,
you know what I mean? And so now it's gun violence for a lot of reasons, you know what I mean? But you know, I go at and go back to myself and my responsibility, and what I can do is just be a positive, you know, role model and speak to those who lend me their ear, because everybody don't listen to me.
Yeah.
Everybody don't listen to nobody. There's pockets of people that value your wisdom and value the things that you say, and those are the people that's why we're so important. Who's your pockets? You're a 27-year-old man now. Find your pocket of people that you can be an influence on. Same thing for Midwest Matthew. Find your pocket of people that you can be an influence. And if we all are doing that, then we get incrementally better as a group. You know what I mean? Because everybody ain't gonna listen to me. You know, he bald headed, you know what I mean? His left leg shorter than his right. Some reason that they're gonna be like, hey, I don't listen to him. You know what I mean? His barbershop's on the east side, I only go on the west side. Whatever.
You'll be dumb not to though.
But I'm making it light of the situation, but it is an actual fact that everyone doesn't listen to everyone. So if we can each individually find the people of our influence, and not only, so then I got to have people that I speak to, then I got to have people that I listen to.
Yes,
so I got, you know, I'm Muslim, we established that, but I got Christian pastors that I go to and talk to.
Yeah.
That I love them.
And that you listen.
Because we're dealing on the principles.
Yes, sir.
The same principles, the same characters as in these books that we fighting each other over right? That we don't fully understand and that we out here fighting over. The principles is what we need to glean from them. And so I got pastors, I got therapists, I got hood homeboys. Give me some of that hood wisdom. You know what I'm saying? I call my mama and my mama say some wild stuff, you know, some stuff that's deep. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She said to me one day, it was simple, but it just blew my mind. It's the damn internet meme. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was, at the time, it was apropos and what I need to hear. She said, if you're worried about it, pray on it. And if you, how did she say it? It's some internet meme. I don't want to be like that, that's funny. I don't want to be the Kanye, with the George, not the Kanye, but the J. Cole where he had George Bush. The point is, if you fool me, you can't fool me again. So I don't want to say it right, but it's those things. You have to have people around you that you listen to as well. And if we all do that, then we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So, you know, so yeah, community centers are important, you know, and they moved it to different locations. They try to attach it to schools. They try to attach it to different fundings, you know. I know the Boys and Girls Club, when I think back of Waterloo, was very instrumental, you know, in my life. You know, we played flag football and dodgeball, and, you know, you can go somewhere in the summers and get off the streets and find something positive to do. So community centers and Boys and Girls Clubs are important, but we can never take out our own personal responsibility in the condition of our communities. You know, we can't, you know, just send our kids places. You can't just send our children to school and say it's their job to educate. It's my job to educate my child. Mm-hmm. My job. It's my child.
Yes, sir.
Society says I got all these damn bills, so I got to go to work. So I partner with the school system to educate my child. And so because of that, I know their teachers. The teachers know my expectations.
Sure.
Right? These are my expectations. It's my expectations of my child. This is my expectations of you. What are your expectations of me? When you call me, you expect me to respond? Okay, I'm going to do that. You expect me to make sure my child is well behaved and well fed when they come in here? Okay, I got my responsibility. You got your responsibility. My child has a responsibility. That's why my children have been able to go. One graduated from Iowa State. My son's a barber. I got another child. She's an architect major. She goes to UIC. I got another child. She's so brilliant. She got a 31 on the ACT and talking about she want to take it again.
Why?
Hey, that wasn't my goal. She wanted 32. All the schools that she want to get into wanted 32.
Oh, okay.
She got a 4.66 grade point average. She want to take the AC. I'm looking at her like, and this is her own mentality, her own expectations. She wants to do this. Yeah. She wants to take the ACT again. I had a 20 and was like, woo! You know what I mean? She got a 31. It's like, I don't like that. I want to do it again. Damn, you crazy? But that's her. That's her.
He's like, what?
Yeah, what? Yeah, that's 31. Her. She want to take it again. Yeah, wow. She want to take it again. It's dead serious.
Where do you think that comes from? Like that? Like, do you think that comes from like you? Like just wanting to.
That's the expectations of my home from the time that they were children.
Yes, sir.
expectations in my home. They, you know, and by the grace of God, I've been able to provide for them. So the consistency that you talking about, man, I got up every day. You know, they knew daddy was coming home. They knew daddy was at work. And I've been able to provide for them. You know, you want to go to the bookstore and read, you can go to the bookstore. This is a child that I'm speaking of. Her name is Farah Muhammad. She's my youngest child. She was 2. She the youngest. Everybody, we just come back from Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah.
Everybody in the house got books.
Yeah.
We went to Barnes and Nobles to get books. She couldn't read. She was crying.
Because she couldn't read?
Everybody in the house could read but me. She was mad. You know what I mean? She was like, I can't read.
Yeah.
And we talk about that story all the time. That was her self-motivation as a 2.5-year-old child, 3-year-old child. She couldn't read yet. And so it was important to her to learn to read.
ASAP. Yes, sir.
So she can learn. And that's been her trajectory her whole life. You know what I mean? She's 4.66. How's that possible? You know, the AP courses and the weighted courses and all of that. But she has a 4.66 grade point average. She got a letter from Yale. They send it to her.
The Ivy League school? Yeah.
Please apply for our college.
Yeah.
That's what they said. Apply for our college.
Jesus.
But that's the expectations that we have. That's you know, in my house, that I wanted that type of you know, success in them, you know. And I didn't accept less than that. You know, I used to laugh. It was a joke in my house, but I was serious. I said the 3.0 is a Mendoza line. You go on the 3.0, you can't eat. You get peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You got to get out the pantry. You get the get the bare minimums. But if you think about school, 3.0 wasn't hard to get.
Oh, man, I didn't graduate with 3.0.
But you can take a test now from the first semester. Long as the semester's not over, the first day you can make up tests.
Yeah, true.
You can. So why, you know? But I digress. But that's just the expectation. So when you go back again, you ask about Logan. It's those type of things, man. We have to invest ourselves in our communities, invest into each other. You know,
yes, sir.
Be a tighter knit, and where, you know, people. You know, you always gonna have disagreements. Mm-hmm. So we ain't gonna never mitigate it where it's just this kumbaya reality where people don't fight. But will you fight instead of shooting somebody? Yeah, I would love to see a group of young men get into fisticuffs as opposed to a shootout. If we gotta, you know, deem what's most important, I don't want to see nobody killed, because, like I said, I had a son that lost his life May 23rd of 2020. So he lost his life hanging out with some friends. They had a gun. They weren't had beef with each other, but they don't know guns. Yeah. Okay. The gun went off. Shot and killed him. Lost his life, 17 years old.
Jeez.
You know, he lost his life, 17 years old, during the pandemic, 2020. So, you know, so when you experience that, when you hold a mother, you know, who's lost her son, you know, you hold her, she's crying, she's distraught. Her son's gone, her baby, her youngest, that was her youngest child, my wife's youngest child. Gone now, you know, never to return, had the whole life in front of him. And he was probably the strongest amongst all our children, mine included. So when we do the 9 of them, he's probably the strongest of the 9. A young, wow. You know, so that's the importance of it, man. The community aspect, that's the importance of it. Because the pandemic told us, and should have slapped everybody in the face and see that life is not promised, man.
Yeah. Amen.
You can be talking to somebody on a Tuesday. They catch COVID on a Wednesday. They start having symptoms on Friday. By Monday, they didn't make it. That's how quick life was changing for us out here during that time.
And it was happening that quick, too.
It was happening that quick. So, that really made me step up and say, man, I'm giving people their roses.
Yes,
I'm letting people know I appreciate them. I'm telling people that I love them. I'm letting people know, man, because nothing's promised.
Sir.
Nothing's promised to any of us, and the moments, you asked me, the moments where we boo-hooing about, man, we still on top of the dirt.
And we waking up every day.
So we got a chance, man. So that's kind of how I look at it.
So 23 years of business. If there's one thing, if you could change anything out of 23 years of business, what would that be?
23 years, what would I change? If I could be the man I am now at the start.
Okay. Well, shit.
See, you learn so much, man. Yeah. And those moments, man, shape us into who we are. But if I could have been the understanding that I have now, the people, man, I love every person. Everybody that came and go, man, I can't say I have any animosity or things about that. But if I could have had the knowledge that I have now, then at the beginning, I would love to have that at the start. I learned my managerial style. So you're in business. Understand what your managerial style is. Understand how you are. Some of us are not confrontational. And so you will put up stuff as a business owner that you shouldn't put up with. That's going to long-termly affect your business.
Yes, sir.
So you either got to learn how to deal with that or hire people around you to say, hey, man, I'm a pushover.
I know what you mean. Yes, sir.
I don't like telling people no. That's your job.
Yeah.
You're the no man.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send you to my sites.
Yes, sir.
That I got in my cleaning company. And you're going to ring people that ain't handling business.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. I know. I suck at saying no, so it's crazy you ring this up.
So
yeah.
You got to learn that. Yeah. I suck at saying no too, man.
Yeah.
I love people. You know what I mean? But you got to learn to say, hey, man, this is the business and this is what's best for the business.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes some of the decisions we make and some things we do as business owners don't always be best for the business. That's why you got to have people around you that can check you, that can help you, that can guide you. So what I keep saying, we tied to each other. We tied together. Have people, hey, man, I've thought about this. Oh, man, that's not a good idea, young brother. And here's why. Oh, man, damn, I ain't think of it like that. Thank you. You know what I mean? And so that's what so if I could start at 23, at 22 years old and had that type of, man, the world would be my oyster. But, the flip side is everything that happens, man, happens. And we learn from it and we get to be the men that we are now because of it. You know what I mean? So that's how I would look at it.
Yes, sir. Man, we appreciate you, Byron.
I appreciate you, brother.
Taking the time.
I appreciate you.
If you want to, if you want to leave any social medias, as far as where they can find Supreme Cuts at, address.
I suck at social media, but however, you can go to Instagram, supremecuts.99. That's the year we started on Instagram. You can go to Supreme Cuts on Facebook. More importantly, you can look me up on Facebook. Easier, Byron Muhammad on Facebook. I got on dark shades and a black tuxedo trying to be fly on there. So you'll see me. That's me. Let me see. I don't really do Snapchat. I don't do no TikToking. You know what I mean? But if you really want to get the full gamut and scope of who I am, man, come to 1230 East 14th Street, Des Moines, Iowa. Supreme Cuts, 515-262-2723 is the number. and then come in here and we can have a conversation like this during your haircut. You know, this is what I do on a daily basis. You know, we talk about life, we talk about business, we talk about success, we talk about pain, we talk about joy. You know what I mean? And you know, I know somebody in all walks of life, and I help you. I know plumbers if you need your car done and your money funny. I know somebody that can help you, you know what I mean? Electrician, you know what I mean? But that's the aspect of the easiest and the best ways. Come on in and we can have a conversation and I'll talk to you, you know what I mean? And I'll support your business. You know, I'm wearing a shirt here called Old is Dope. One of my customers, that's his line. You know what I mean? Old is Dope. Old and Washed Up is his brand. You know what I mean? I don't know why he ain't even old yet, but he trying to make money off. You know what I'm saying? He ain't old yet, but that's a good. Old and Washed Up is his brand. You know, and that's the shirt. Old is Dope that I'm rocking today. You know what I mean? So, that's just, you know, what is important to me is supporting those who support me, and it's a cycle. We take care of each other. So that's how you can reach me the best. So it's Supreme Cuts, Supreme Bail Bonds. So you can go to Supreme Bail Bonds. That's also on Facebook. You can reach that at 515-255-5868. You know, and then I have Supreme Freight Logistics LLC. That's the newest business. And I'm still getting that off the ground, working, learning that business and learning that process. You know, all of them work together. And again, you know, so come on and see me and talk to me. And, you know, if you got a business idea, need a little help and don't know how to get some of them paperwork done, or I can steer you in the right way, in the right direction on that as well. So
with that being said, you already know what time it is. It's your boy Busama, and before we go, one more time, I want to thank Byron Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad, for taking the time out of his day to come out, and congratulations on 23 years of business as well. Big shout outs to Supreme Cuts and everybody that's involved with helping them making a wonderful barbershop. But again, with that being said, it's your boy Busama, and I believe that's all. Peace out. Yeah.